Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, so the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, and how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I'm, as always, your host with the most, Seth. Today, I have Denzel of Denzel Codes is his handle, but Denzel Codes, it's singular. But he is a former recovering barber turned entrepreneur turned app maker that is making an app for the barber shop. I met him through the Philly Tech meetup, Philadelphia Tech meetup, Philly Tech meetup, one of those verbs. It's either Philly or Philly Tech, Philadelphia Tech, whatever the heck it is. Dave Schneider's group on Slack and in person. He hails from East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. He is a consummate entrepreneur and he's really gaining some traction here. So if you're watching the video, he's got a very good head of hair, very well cropped. So, I mean, if he's working in the barbershop setting, one would hope that he wouldn't be straggly like me, because you'd expect him to have good hair. Or no, not good hair, be bald. One of the two. So good hair on him. So I appreciate it because I don't have any hair. My hair is going away very fast. So Denzel, how you doing, buddy? How have you been? It's been a long time coming.
How's it going, Seth? Thank you so much for having me in the podcast. And it's actually curious that you mentioned that about the hair, and it's very true that a lot of barbers are bald.
Because it's just easier. It's easier to deal with it. You're too busy cutting. And also, you don't want to deal with your own hair. You just want to deal with everyone else's hair. That kind of thing. And you're originally from Newark, not Newark, Delaware, Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Well, you're originally from the Dominican Republic, right?
Yes, I'm originally from the Dominican Republic. And so I came over here to the United States I was 15 years old at that time. I'm currently 21 years old. And
you're a baby. You're a baby, buddy.
So something like that.
You have just enough accent to make you exotic. It's awesome.
I got my thick accent that everybody.
It's not thick, and that's what I'm saying. It's not thick. It's just enough to make you, intriguing. So it's a good thing. Hold on to that accent, buddy, because it's kind of cool. You don't have something like bastardized English like us Philadelphians, all that kind of stuff. But then you came to Newark, New Jersey. You became a barber. We talked before. You said you saw the pitfalls of people getting their tips, keeping track of their hours, keeping track of their customers, because barbers rely on their customers. You get a customer in, that's your commission, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And keep track of all that stuff. So fill me in. How did this all get started? How did you get into barbering in the first place?
Yes, absolutely. So when I came to the United States, I was 15 years old, and I had this app before that I had. It was called Talking. That it was going to be like an Omegle, but then at that time, I started that app when I was 13 years old. I came to the United States with the dreams of investing in that company, and I was like, throughout the time that I was working on that app, I realized at 13 years old, I didn't know how to make scalable applications that could scale to millions and thousands of users. So
you got to work for yourself, and that's about it. Exactly.
So by the time that we had a couple thousand users, everything exploded. So I was like, okay, let's start something new.
Let's start from scratch this thing. Yeah, exactly.
So I was looking when I was looking to invest into that company. I was looking for a job. I was going to every single McDonald's, Wendy's, every single street that I could find over there in Newark. I was going to get trying to get a job, and suddenly I was at church, and this man approached me. His name is Jairo Hernandez.
Good name.
And he told me, "Oh, kid, are you looking for a job?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Matter of fact, I am.
And then he's like, "Oh, do you know how to cut hair?" No, but I can learn. And then throughout the time, I start going into the barbershop, and I start learning how to cut hair.
You're an apprentice, kind of.
I was an apprentice, correct. I start learning how to cut hair, and then I start working. By the time that I'm working, months go by, a couple years, like 1 or 2 years go by, and I'm like, wait a minute, there is a problem over here. I see the barbers writing down every
Oh,
single thing on paper, and then they writing their name, the price of the haircut, and it's a very frustrating
yeah,
process
shit gets
because at the
lost.
end of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
day, they put everything into a single box
Oh
that
no. Oh
the
god.
barbershop owner has to separate in groups depending on the name, and then they have to count each one of them tickets one by one,
Oh, that sounds
adding up the
awful. We're gonna take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show.
and
Yeah, it sounds
then
awful.
calculating commission. So imagine the margin of mistake that they have over there.
Larger mistakes, the waiting for, like, your money so you can go out and, feed the family or go out to the bars or go out to the nightclub that night or whatever you wanted to do, you'd have to kind of wait.
Absolutely. So it was
And
like
restaurants have it all down to a system, but not barbershops.
correct. So they were wasting so much time in that process. It used to take them 30 minutes to 2 hours to 3 hours, depending on how busy the day was. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I went on my journey. I was 16 years old at that time. And then I was like, okay, let me build an app for this. And at that time, I didn't have a founder mentality. I had a hustle type of mentality. So I
Yeah,
created
you
an
also
app.
saw a problem and how to solve it for yourself, which is kind of
Yeah,
half the battle, is
correct.
if it's for yourself especially, you're gonna really hustle to get it done.
Correct. So I go ahead and build that app. And the first MVP, we built it. It was working successfully for the first barbershop. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and go to these other barbershops and sell it for a couple $1,000s. So that's what we did. We sold it for a couple $1,000s. And
Hustle,
throughout the
hustle, hustle.
time,
Yeah.
time passes, and I became a software engineer as a full-time engineer. I opened my first software company, which is Inwa, that we provide software consulting services and recruiting for other
Oh,
companies.
that's what I says I am wild. Imwa, it's
Yeah.
Imwa. I says I am wild. That's what I didn't say at the very beginning because I was like, I wasn't sure how to say it. Imwa. There you go.
Yes, it's Inwa, but people say I'm wild, so it's like most people say I'm wild.
You're like, whatever it is, just don't call me late for dinner, that kind of thing. Like it's whatever you
Right.
want, just pay us, essentially. So yeah.
Right. So then over time, I'm like, okay, I really wanna do a startup company, and
Mhm.
I really wanna create something and really impact people's life, because we were impacting people's life. For example, with one of our clients, Access Informatics, we collaborate with the NIH, and we help make impact in the health industry. But I was like, okay, I want to make impact into an industry that I can really see how
And
things
you
are
saw
evolving.
pain, and you saw pain there. Like, I mean, nothing's worse than slips of paper. I mean, that sounds awful.
Correct. So time passes, and then the idea popped back into my mind, and I was like, okay, God, do you really want me to build this app as a software as a service? And then I started on the journey back again. So at the beginning, it was just me coding whenever I finished working, like from 12 in the morning to 40 in the
Ugh,
morning, programming every single day. And then
that's what
we
you gotta
have
do.
the first MVP of the software as a service product for the application that we already built in the past. And barbershops loved it. They signed up right away, and we're really
Make their
saving
lives
them time
easier.
and
Exactly.
making their life easier.
I love it. So you really came to America with a dream, the American dream. Like you wanted to make it. You had an idea and you ran with it. I mean, that's the founder mentality. Is like I can do this, and no one's telling you not to. No one's telling you not to do it, and you're just like, I'm gonna go for it. What's the worst that happens? You fail and you try something else.
The worst that can happen, you fail, and you just start over again.
Start over
But
again.
the most
Exactly. I
important
mean, it's
part is
awesome.
taking a lesson out of it. Because if, for example, with the first company that I had, Talkie, if I didn't take the lesson and learn how to create apps that could scale to millions and thousands of
Mhm.
users, I wouldn't have that lesson, and it wouldn't allow me to create this new app that really it's organized in the
Mhm.
right manner to be able to support millions of barbershops around the world.
I love it. So how big is how about how much have you scaled so far?
Right now, we are getting some tractions every single month.
That's good.
From word of mouth, a lot of barbershops sign up each other, And
That's
whenever you have
awesome.
something that is really nice, you just want to share it with all the
Oh,
people that you know
absolutely,
that you can
yeah.
definitely help. So they're loving the product, and we're making great progress so far. Thank God.
That's awesome. So, how many cities are you in? Just in Newark, or are you in East Stroudsburg? Like, where are your customers?
Most of my customers are in Newark, New Jersey. We
Well,
also
it's a good
have
place to start. I mean, like, because I mean, when you think about Newark or Philadelphia, for that matter, it's a city of neighborhoods. And when you think about like the Dominican, the Spanish population, the Dominican population, I mean, yeah, I mean, Hollywood's kind of romanticize the barbershop that way, but it's true. I mean, people go to the barbershop and mingle and chat and all that stuff. But I mean, every little community has a barbershop, and these barbershops are on paper for crying out loud, which is like, oh my God, that's awful. I can't imagine like doing my business on paper. Oh
just
my God.
imagine, you were cutting hair for the whole day. Let's say 9 hours straight, 10 hours straight, and
This is
then
awful.
after that, you have to go ahead and do manual calculation and manual
Oh,
proofing of paper.
this is
It's
awful,
just
awful. You're
you don't want
fixing
to
that
wait till.
problem, which is great, and I love that. So you moved to East Stroudsburg and you bought your mom a house,
Thank
which I think
God.
is awesome. And you have your studio upstairs where you can, do your work, and it's a little bit quieter than Newark, New Jersey kind of thing. So you can think and code and do all that stuff. How far are you from Newark? What are you, like an hour?
Yeah, I'm actually just a single hour from
Yeah, you're
Newark, New
right out
Jersey.
78. You like
Mhm.
hop on 78 and go. Something like that. Or
What do
80,
you said
80.
again?
70. You got 78. I 78, right? Or, I 80.
I 80.
Yeah, go on the Patterson and go south a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little inside baseball geography for those people who are not listening to it from our area. But exactly. So, all right. So here's the thing. What is the best thing about being an entrepreneur in your mind versus working for the man or working for the barbershop, essentially?
The best thing about being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Great question. I feel like the journey,
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
the way that you have to become a different person that deserves
Mhm.
the different type of results that you're trying to earn.
I love
So
that. Yeah.
that really motivates me and drive me every single day to become the best leader as possible, the best entrepreneur as possible, and to take as much calculated risk as I possibly can. And it's something that I really love to do.
So, how big is your
Huh?
team? Is it just you still, or do you have a few
Uh,
people?
For presenting, we currently have three people at presenting, one software engineer, and then two people helping me doing the sales. And
That's
for
awesome.
Inwall, we currently have approximately 9 members, and
Wow.
all of them are pretty much software engineers. I'm still doing the sales at Inwall.
Oh, yeah, because it's your baby, and it's kinda you sell it, you do it, that kinda thing. What's the name of the app? Is the app the barbershop app, is it in the App Store?
It's in its way to be in the App Store. It's perceni.com. It's currently at the Play Store in Android. So if
That's
you
always
got
the
an
thing
Android,
doing
you
that.
can already
Apple
download it.
Apple has to plug up their backside. Yeah, it's, getting to get it into Apple is a pain in the tuchus. So
They are really picky of what goes
oh,
into the App Store.
yeah.
So we publish it so that they can review it. They get back to us with a couple of updates that they want us to do, and they
You
are
gotta
the
listen,
owners
you
of the
gotta
store,
listen.
so you gotta accommodate your app into their constraints.
Absolutely, and you can always do test flight and do betas so people can test it on their phones, but better to get in the App Store, exactly. So here's another question for the entrepreneurship and angle of stuff. What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up
Like,
at
as an
night?
entrepreneur, like, what keeps you up at night? What you worry about? Or are you not worrying that much? Or is it just kind of like what as an entrepreneur, like, what's the good thing about being an entrepreneur, but what's the flip side of that,
You know, at this moment in life, I am not currently having any worry. I have a
Good.
100% certainty and trust in God, and I believe that
Love it.
He got my back. But at some point in my life, I went through a struggle that I didn't have any clients, I didn't have anything. I've already bought my mom a house, so it was like it was a couple of months of not making the mortgage payment, and I was like,
Ugh,
"Oh my gosh, what do I do?" But
exactly. That keeps you up at night.
I
Yeah.
just put my faith back in God, and He was able to help me go through that situation with
Mhm.
with the head up front. How do you say that in English? But it's
Yeah,
like
well,
with a
yeah,
good attitude.
head first, just dive
Yeah,
right into it, yeah, and go for it. Yeah, exactly.
to face it with a good attitude, and I was able to make it through, and we made a couple of sales. We made great progress, and thank God that situation never happened before. But at that
No
time,
pun intended. Thank God, no pun intended.
what really helped me was having God on on my side. Also
Love it.
having different type of hobbies. For example, I do also martial arts, which is
Yeah,
I do karate and MMA, and I love that. In karate, you have to focus on every single little details on the process, because every single details matter. So that really helped me as well, having a hobby of things that could entertain my
and
mind
also
to really go
separation
through that
from
struggle.
separation from the stress too. It's nice to say, take a step back, say, I'm taking a break. I'm gonna go to the dojo, get the endorphins going, get my energy out, and come back, and sit down and get back to work. I mean, it's a great thing to do is have a hobby. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Here's a question for you. What is the most important thing to carry with you all the time? This can be as woo as you want to get.
To carry, would you mind to go
It can be
deeper into
it can
that
be
question?
mentally, it can be physical, it can be both. But like, what is the most important thing you carry with you all the time?
Hmm. You have a very set of great questions that I never
I
got approached
know, I
before.
know.
So when I'm traveling, the most important thing that I always take is my Bible, because I don't trust the
Yeah, you
plane.
don't want to need those Gideon Bibles. Those you don't want to trust those Gideon Bibles.
So when I go to the
Those
plane, I'm
Gideon.
like, "God, you're over here." So that's the first thing. But in a day-to-day basis, car keys.
You can't get anywhere without your car keys. Absolutely, yeah.
That's pretty much what I carry every day. I don't
Because you
have
need to get
any.
to Newark and back. You gotta get to Newark and back, get to the barbershops, sell, get in front of people. Absolutely, buddy. The Bible and the car keys, the two things, and you will travel.
Absolutely, thank God.
That's awesome. So people can find you online pretty much everywhere. Denzel Giraldo, right?
Yes,
Giraldo. There's an
yes,
L in there. Giraldo, yeah.
yeah,
And you can find you on the PTE Slack, the Philly Tech Entrepreneurs Slack. And where's your main watering hole online for social media?
yeah.
LinkedIn.
I'm everywhere pretty much.
You're 21 for crying out loud. Of course you're everywhere.
So
You're at Denzel Code. Is that your handle pretty much everywhere? Denzel Code.
my handle pretty much everywhere is Denzel Code. I also go in LinkedIn by Denzel Giraldo, so you guys can connect with me.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes. Yeah, absolutely.
To
But that's awesome,
communicating with
buddy.
you guys.
Listen, I'm so glad we finally got this going. 'Cause, I mean, I was sick. You had some stuff you had to deal with. So I'm glad we finally got it on the horn, and that's good. So Denzel, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Seth. I truly
Yeah, and I
appreciate
wish
the
you all the
opportunity.
luck in the world, buddy. I love it. You're 21. You have your whole life ahead of you, and you're gonna take your life by its horns and go in head first.
Thank you very much. God bless you, Seth. Thank you so much.
Awesome. We'll see
Appreciate you.
everyone next week. That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please review us in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps other podcast listeners find our show. If you're looking for other podcasts in the marketing space, look no further than the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net. Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode.